Let's just talk some football. Michael Straham joining us. Hey, Mike. How are you?
What's up, man? I'm good, Mr. Patrick. And you're right, man. Ooh, a lot of heavy stuff in sports, huh?
I know. But it says a lot about the NFL. But at what point does it get to your show? When you're on with Kelly, where Kelly wants to talk about something that's not necessarily football on the field?
It has to be something that grabs the front pages or something that's in the style section. Then she'll pick up on it, or it has to be something that I bring up. But it has to. I don't think any of these things that have happened so far right now are things that we necessarily go into on the show.
But
go ahead.
Who's more apt to ask you about something like this, your wife or Kelly?
Well, both, but probably more on the private sector. Like Kelly will read the paper and the dressing room and say, "Tell me about this guy. Tell me about what's going on there." And but definitely when you get home, you're going to get asked these questions too, or they're going to give you the side eye, like, "Hey, what do you think about that? You better answer it right."
Are you prepared for this Hall of Fame?
Nope, not at all.
How do you prepare?
I'm prepared as far as like where I need to be and what I need to do when I'm there. I have an incredible team of people. We'll put this together with Constance, Jose, Terrell, DeSera, my son Michael, and Jose, and everybody. But it is like for me, I need to write my speech. I need to figure out who to thank. And I kind of started, but I'm looking at all these names going, I'm going to be up there for like 30 minutes just thanking people, and that's too much. That's without the speech.
If I said, finish the sentence, I wouldn't be a Hall of Famer without what or who?
Great teammates, encouragement, plain and simple.
Was there give me the low point in your career? Where
low point in my career was, that's a very good question. Probably some of those 5-win seasons, or the 6-win seasons when the seasons are tough. And it was a low point in my career some of those years, but sometimes personally it was a high point because I played well, but it was as a team, it was horrible. And that just taught me that it's not about yourself, it's more about everybody collectively. And the only time I felt great or felt the best about any season I ever had was when we went to 2 Super Bowls or we made the playoffs, especially winning the Super Bowl. It just showed me it's a team sport. It truly is a team sport, not about the individual.
At what point did you say, now I understand, like Eli Manning is a big-time quarterback? Because, I've said this before on the show, one of your former teammates I was out with socially, and he said, as a group, we really had doubts about Eli Manning being a great quarterback. He seemed very lost when he first got there. But what was there that moment where you go, yeah, that guy's a championship quarterback? What was it?
Well, I think we all were lost when we first came into the league, and Eli was no exception. But I think it's more his disposition, how he just looks like he's like kind of spacey and not necessarily there. But that's just him. He's actually the perfect quarterback for this season. For this team. For me, it was that season we won the Super Bowl. He was quiet, but he was confident. And he went from being Peyton's little brother into his own man. He became Eli Manning that Super Bowl season. And I wasn't sold on him at first either. We had Kurt Warner, who was great. And then we kind of moved Kurt Warner out the way for Eli to come in. And I'm thinking, why would we let Eli sit on the bench and learn from one of the best? And I guess they just saw something different in Eli. And I'm glad that he proved them right and helped me get a ring so I could retire.
He's Michael Straham joining us on the show. Are sacks a true litmus test or gauge of how great somebody is?
Absolutely not. Overrated by far. So many guys were great at sacking the quarterback but couldn't stop the run, weren't complete football players. They were defensive ends, or they were pass rush. They weren't defensive ends. They were pass rush specialists. And I'm not taking anything away from that because that's an art within itself, and you get paid a lot of money, and you can disrupt a lot of teams by being able to get to the quarterback. But I always looked at it as you're going to be called a defensive end. You do everything. You don't come off the field. You stay on the field no matter what the situation is. And I've always kind of looked at Deacon Jones and Reggie White and Bruce Smith and guys like that and said, that is a defensive end. It's not a guy who just specializes in, I'm fresh, and I'll run in and rush the quarterback. It's a guy who could take the pounding and dish out some tackles when it came to playing the run.
Any feuds that were never settled?
No, no, it's not for me. I never feuded with anybody. We're out there on the field, I'm competitive, but then once we got off the field, I'm cool, man. Like, it wasn't that serious to me. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I played it. My dad made my parents proud. I made money, and I took care of my family. But when I left the field, it was like, okay, that's good enough. I'm not going to fight you. Fight you for what? Because your team in that other jersey beat my team or lost to my team? What's the point?
But you have guys who need grudges, that they need to have that anger there. You didn't have to manufacture.
When I first started out in the league, when I first started playing, I thought I needed that anger. But it's kind of hard to stay mad at somebody who didn't do anything to you. You're out there on the field going, you said something about my mama. You don't even know your mama. So eventually, you got to just go. You got to do it for the love of it. I could smile at you and have a conversation with you, but the second I put on a helmet and got across from you, I'm going to whip your butt, and that's the bottom line. I wanted to turn on the film and be able to laugh with you about me beating you. It became more of a competing more so than being angry, and that really saved me because I didn't waste a lot of energy trying to get mad at somebody who gave me no reason to be mad at them.
At what point in your career did you understand what your next career was going to be and start taking steps towards that?
Well, it's kind of like an evolution. While I was playing, I just started doing things, and people would ask me to do things, and it was fun. So I said, okay, I'll continue to do them. But I don't think until like year 12 or 13 out of my 15 that I started to go, yeah, these guys do this for a living, huh? Actually can do it and have some fun, stay close to the game. So that's when I kind of started to develop and kind of really study what guys were doing. But at the same time, it's important for a lot of young guys. I tell them, don't ever lose sight of what your main business is, which is football. So for me, I always made sure my main business was taken care of, which was that on the football field, and I always looked at this other stuff as secondary until it became my primary business like it is now.
How nervous were you when you auditioned with Kelly to take over for Regis?
Man, I was scared to death. Good thing I wear a suit jacket. I would have had sweat pit stains running down to my hips. So yeah, it's scary because it's so different. I was scared when I went to Fox. Like under the table, my leg is shaking like a dog's tail, but up top, I'm looking calm, and I was scared to death. And then to come here and do something that's more of an entertainment and fun and personality, something that a lot of people don't get to see from us as athletes with our helmets on or doing commentary about football. That was even scarier. But, hey, you know what? You find the system. It's going to be an athlete kind of goes all back to the same thing. You adapt. You make it happen. You figure out a plan, and you make it work. And fortunately for me, that has been the case, and it's worked very well. If
I said 20 years ago, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, and you're going to be hosting a show, a talk show host, morning TV show, which one would you have been more surprised at?
A talk show. No doubt. Because physically, you feel like if I work hard enough, I can make it happen. And the other, it's kind of like so many people out there who had experience in the talk show business who were going for this job, and for me to come in off the streets basically and get it, that's more surprising. But if you'd have told me either one of those 20 years ago, like you're going to be one of these, or both of these, I would have probably asked you to take a drug test.
Who's the former opponent that will get a mention in your Hall of Fame speech?
There are probably a few. Of course, Eric Williams for the Cowboys. I think John Runyon from the Philadelphia Eagles will get mentioned. Maybe a few quarterbacks. We'll see. I've written down some names, but more of a thank yous, and for those guys, I definitely have some thank yous. But you got to tell a few good battle stories. So I'm looking forward to it. And those guys, without those two particularly, and some of the guys I had to face in practice, are definitely those guys made me a better player, no doubt. So I owe them a lot, even though we were opponents.
Who's the quarterback, though, you didn't get that you would?
The quarterback? It's probably for these young guys playing now. It's more like these guys who play now. We're real pretty and all this. Quarterback used to score a touchdown and kind of be that Eli Manning kind of thing. Like, okay, I've been here before. But now these guys scoring touchdowns, and they got dances and celebrations and, all these things. I would love to bust one of them up a little bit.
Like if Cam Newton did his Superman thing?
Like that Cam Newton Superman? Yeah, like Cam is bigger than me. See, that's the problem. That's the issue with Cam.
Well, okay, then maybe you would wait for Johnny Manziel to do something.
Yes, that little cash money thing he does. I try to bust Johnny up for that one. I'm a big Johnny fan, man. I hope he does well. I'm a big Johnny fan, but I must admit, if I were playing, he would probably be my number one target to just want to get a shot in on him because it's Johnny Manziel. Why not?
Would you say something to him as a teammate?
Yep, I would. I would let him know, hey, you're gonna party. It's cool. We all party. You just got to make sure when you show up and the season starts that you are the best football player you can be. All that stuff off the field doesn't matter. And all these parties you're in, and all these people you're around, everybody wants you around. If you don't do well here, all that goes away. Don't get tricked into believing that because you're Johnny, you're around. It's because you're Johnny and you're successful Johnny. Unsuccessful Johnny, as we've seen in not just sports businesses, but in every business, no one wants to be around.
Congrats, Mike, and have fun this weekend.
My friend, thank you. It's always good talking to you, my brother.
All right, Michael Straham, going in the Hall of Fame.